Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from today. My name is Kenny Bazwaye, and yes, this is a special edition today. We are bringing you live and direct the American election, and you are now in Kenny World Outreach. Today, we're going to be going into the nitty-gritty where we talked about the campaign trail, what happened during the 4 years of President Donald Trump, and we will be touching about some certain things that happened, why um, Joe Biden was the vice president, the campaign trail, of course. We're also going to be talking about the results that are coming in, and we will be predicting the winner. In studio today, that is joining us live virtually to discuss this are some subject matter experts that will be joining us. I have one of our brother here, a man that had passion for our community, as well as a man that is this love is beyond a 24-story high-rise building for our country, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Mr. Ibrahim Aruna, GBKFM Senior Political Analyst. Mr. Ibrahim Aruna, I know I have attempted to introduce you. Please, can you tell our people a little bit about yourself?
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, back in whatever it is morning. And my name is Ibrahim Olawumi Haruna, and I'm a Canadian. I'm also a background from Nigeria. So I'm into project management expert. I have about 20 years experience managing projects for the big banks, the telecommunication industry, and all the big companies here in Canada and back in Nigeria. So my passion is in politics, passionate about politics, and I've been very part of the many election in Nigeria and here in Canada. And so I'm the senior political analyst here at KGBFM, and we've been. I'll be glad to take you through the journey this evening, and like we have always done. And thanks you for the opportunity, KGBFM.
Thank you very much, sir, and we really appreciate you. You've immensely contributed to the political landscape internationally and locally when it comes to GBKFM. We have another subject matter expert here, my own bosom friend that I've always been a powerhouse for GBKFM, but luckily we got him to agree to come to the front line today. This is a man that is full of wisdom. It's not because, as he will be introducing himself, his name has something to do with wise or wisdom, but he's actually full of wisdom. The man that I sat with 2 weeks ago and somebody called him a teacher. I know his profession is not a teacher. He's a certified engineer here in Canada from Nigeria as well, but a subject matter expert when it comes to politics. First of all, let me bring it to our notice. This is the first time, the very, very first time that we have Mr. Wise on GBK FM. Mr. Wise, thank you for joining us today. I know I cannot do justice to the wealth of accolade you have underneath your belt, but I'm going to give you the platform now to officially introduce yourself to our people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenny, and I also appreciate the invite to join on today's discuss. My name is Wisdom Ugwebu, as you can hear, and a lot of friends call me Mr. Wise, and don't ask me why they say that. It goes back many years. I'm a technical project coordinator. I work with my heating power quality. I deal on a lot of three-phase, and I'm into the power business. And also, I like telling people I'm a student of political history. I like to leave it at that part. And I'm happy to be here today. And GBKFM has been a radio station within the community that brings out information. And they've been very supportive in the local African community, which I'm going to say. So I'm happy to be here, and I also hope to join in most of the discussion as time goes on. And so that's it. So thank you, Mr. Kenny, and thank you to the GBK family. And also happy to see Mr. Haruna. I think he has a lot of weight of experience, and also I'll regard him as a senior political brother because he's been on the trenches before me.
I'll be learning from you as well.
You know, guys, this is first of all, let me say it is nice having everybody here. A lot of
Yes.
people will not understand until we finish this show today, the powerhouse that we have in this show today. Now, these people that we have here, for those that are just joining us, are men that will say it the way it is. They know how to look at the trend. They know how to look at the look at how it has happened in the past, and they can tell you the political geographical terrain, what is going to happen, meaning they can focus on it. Now, talking about focusing it, I want to start with Mr. Ibrahim Aruna. I like to pick on you a lot, as you can say. Who is going to win today's election?
Thank you, my brother. And, when you look at the whole situation, looking at the history, looking at where we are today, when Trump was coming last 4 years, he campaigned being somebody who is not a politician. So he campaigned on the rhetorics and on the point where his new person is not like a typical politician. And people bought into that, right? And he also used some of the tactics. But when you look back to 2016, I keep telling people, even though it has been decided that Clinton will not win, but all the polls gave it to Clinton, except one poll that said Trump will win. And and one thing that killed Clinton was, before the last 10 days, the email saga. If you all remember, the email saga killed everything. It kind of impacted Clinton and that election, and she could not recover from that, right? Even though they tried that this time around. Remember, Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, he said they were going to release an email 10 days to the election. And they did, but it didn't make any impact. People have learned from the way Trump has managed the country since the last 4 years. But talking about the polls, I will give it to Biden based on the polls. And as we go, we'll talk more about the analysis. We'll talk more about the reason why some of the polls are, and now the results are coming in. We're beginning to see some of the polls are now becoming to be true. And as we go, we'll see. We'll see how the night goes. I know we might not be able to get the winner tonight, right? But at the same time, it's very interesting to see how things are coming.
Thank you for weighing in there with Mr. Wise. Now that we are aware that a lot of numbers are not coming in yet, who do you think this will go in the favor?
I'm just like as my brother Mr. Haruna said, it's too early for now. I'm going to say for now, I'm giving it 50-50, but I'm also leaning towards Trump in a way. I'm looking at one of those battleground states to flip towards him, and he still have the chance of carrying the day before the end of the night. But for now, it's too close to call. The poll gives it to Biden. So based on poll, we'll say Biden is going to pick it today. But based on the reality on ground, I don't think the Democrats are as confident as the way they were yesterday in terms of what is happening right now, because a place like Florida, the Democrats were hoping to pick up Florida and pick up Michigan, pick up Ohio. So right now they're putting their bets in Pennsylvania. And with Pennsylvania and with the gaffe that Biden made the other time by saying he's going to ban fracking. So that may play, the rural Pennsylvania may tend to vote for Trump. So I think we should look at that part also very well. And also if you look at Georgia, Democrat is trying to flip Georgia because no Democrat has won Georgia since Bill Clinton, but I think it's going to be a tough battle for them to flip Georgia, flip Texas. So with a place like Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Ohio, and Pennsylvania, if these places go for Trump tonight, I see Trump coming back to the White House. But if he loses two of those places, then I'll say game over. So I'm going to leave it at there for now because most network has not been able to call any of these races.
Now, talking about the network not being able to call, Mr. Ibrahim, one way argue that the approach that Donald Trump took when it comes to the COVID-19 will reflect in the ballot box today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree to that? And if you do, how so?
Yes, when you see the way Donald Trump managed the COVID-19, very poorly, like flip-flop, in terms of saying this today, saying that tomorrow. And when you watch the last debate, he actually said vaccine is coming next week. They asked again, he said, oh, before the election. They asked again, he said, oh, after the election. They asked again, he said, oh, in January, right? And he also declared that it's over. So because of that, when you look at the map, seeing the turnout in some places, it actually reflects, it reflected in some places. But again, just like Mr. White said, it's still very early. A lot of some states, they have the the ballot that have come in, the mail-in ballot. It takes longer time to count. And that's why this thing might be longer than what we think. So to count the mail-in
But
ballot.
let me weigh in. I want to stay on topic now, Mr. Wise. What he's saying, will you allude to the fact that he's saying that Donald Trump was flip-flopping when it comes to his approach, the manner and approach he took during COVID-19, and if yes or no, would that reflect on the ballot box today?
Okay, from the exit poll we get in, the COVID issue is not on top of the list. Now, let me go back on that COVID issue. You see, I've always said something in life. If you allow your opponent to define you, that's how the narrative is going to go. Now, in America, let's look at the whole thing holistically in terms of fighting the COVID. America is not kind of a state. America is not like Nigeria, whereby the federal government decide everything. Each state decide whatever they want to do. Take an example like New York, where Governor Cuomo made a horrible job. But nobody talks about Governor Cuomo. But everybody's blaming Donald Trump because of he's the whipping boy inside the party. Now, mind you, the media made this narrative. Yes, the presidency must have made 1 or 2 or 3 mistakes. But we should also understand that this COVID situation, we don't even understand what the COVID was all about. Right last year, everybody, if you remember here in Canada, the mayor was even going to the Chinese community saying, hey, don't talk about this, don't do this stuff. People will not start talking about it's a China virus. I don't know if you understand that period. People were avoiding those kind of comments. But understand one thing, the Democrats were able to use the media to define Donald Trump. And I blame him on that part. He should have been able to fall back. Like today, I was telling somebody, say, hey, if Trump had allowed the COVID-19 committee to be doing the talking and stay away from it, it will have been very difficult for the media to define Trump with the COVID issue. Because if we are blaming Trump on the issues that happen in states, but you forgot that Trump has no control on those states. Now, what about a place like New York, where Governor Cuomo was sending old people to nursing home to go there and die? Are we going to blame Trump for that? But everything is being blamed on Trump. So I understand that after this election, we will now do the postmortem on coronavirus. We're going to understand that the media overblew this whole thing out of we had a wrong information on all these things. Mind you, Trump was fighting the Democrat, was fighting the media, was fighting every person. He's rough around the edge, and the way he brings out his information, most times we don't like it, but that's who he is. Trump is Trump. But I will always give him credit for one thing. On the economic side, he did a very fabulous job before.
Before you go on economic side, let me talk more about the COVID-19. As a leader, you play a bigger role. If Trump has aligned with the expert, Dr. Fauci and all those stuff, I know you're right. At the beginning, nobody actually understand. Even myself, I work in Vancouver, and I told my company I'm afraid to go back to work. I want to go back home, and they keep asking me to go back. March 16, I was supposed to return back to Vancouver, and I say I'm afraid. I don't want to enter plane and everything, and I have to go to HR to fight it, and I refuse to go. All things that I said came to come true. I've been working from home since February, right? Okay. So Trump, if he has allowed the expert to do the job and follow the rules, maybe the election will not be what we are talking about. maybe it won't be like this. But you never know. It might still be
But
a
can
different
I
thing.
interject a little bit? You mentioned Dr. Fauci, eh?
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci wakes up in the morning and tells us the sky is blue. When he goes for lunch, he tells us the sky is red. When he's going to sleep, he tells us the sky is green. Fauci doesn't even understand the coronavirus.
The same thing here in Canada.
Fauci was changing his statement from, like, we have it, like, this one is not speculation. If you go back and read what Fauci was saying from January, Fauci was never on point.
Okay, let me come here. The same thing here in Canada. At the beginning, nobody understand. And if you go back and watch the news, even here in Canada, things keep changing based on the information at hand. So keep changing. Initially, they say, nobody needs to wear masks.
But an average person on the street now will say, we did a survey today. It's just a mind survey. And a lot of people we spoke to, people of the same color, their take was that, the way he approached the COVID-19, he didn't do well, and so on and so forth. But from what is coming out from Mr. Aruna, he goes to show that it was generic, it was across the aisle. Every country was confused.
Yep.
So, Mr. White, is it safe to say that it was not just him, it was the media, like you're saying, that took it out? Go ahead.
But let me tell you the difference. So here in Canada, we're making adjustments. We're making adjustments as we're moving, right? As we're getting more information, better research, better discovery, new things, we're making adjustments. Even Canada should have acted earlier by closing the border, because a lot of cases came in through the US to Canada, right? So we're making adjustments, but in his own case, he stick to his message of not playing it down up to now. That's just the difference.
White, Mr. White, do you agree that he has contributed to the death of COVID-19 because some people will claim that he played it down?
No, I feel that's just media narrative. There were even just like, okay, like as Mr. Haruna said, like he brought the issue of Canada. In Canada, what did Justin Trudeau did differently that America did not do? It's all the same thing.
No, I will tell you.
No.
I will tell you.
Okay.
I will tell you. Justin Trudeau, every day up to today, even today, every day, most of the day, he will come in, give update with his experts. Even Ford, every province is.
But the they leadership. Did that in America.
The leadership is different. Trump's. See, Trump. If Trump has handled the way Canada handled it, we will not be talking like this. The poll will not be what we're saying.
But can I ask you a question? If the media was attacking Trudeau the way the media was attacking Trump, because see, sometimes we should look at the whole thing holistically, right?
Let me tell you the difference. Let me tell you the difference. The difference is this: Trump was not on top of the situation. He was not addressing. He was dividing the people. He was calling this thing is a it's a blue state. It is not in a red state. You know, the Democrats are doing a bad job. The rest are doing a better job.
Let me answer that.
He was not on top of that situation. No, it wasn't like that here in Canada.
Okay. In Canada, Doug Ford do not agree with the prime minister. But during that period, Doug took politics aside. But in America, the Democrat governors were attacking Trump. True or false?
Because Trump was not taking leadership.
How?
Define leadership for me, please.
The leadership about this is, as a president, you need to work with your experts and work across the aisle.
He did that. He
did not do that.
He did that. He assembled one of the best team. No. Check where. He assembled one of the best team with Dr. Fauci, and the vice president was the leader, and the CDC.
He cut off Fauci along the way.
That's
and he stopped allowing Fauci to start giving updates.
No, Fauci never said that. If you watch it, same in Canada here, the prime minister, they were using the political machine, and the experts in America too were talking. It's just that what happened is this, like I keep saying, the media was against Trump. Like
so let me tell you something. I know people that has died of COVID-19. My neighbor had COVID-19. I have a family. Relax. I have a family friend that was in contact with a worker that has COVID-19. I know a lot of people that had COVID-19. It was not a hoax. It was not a media thing. Initially, all of us, people don't take it serious until it now reaches your neighbor. Before you now
Yeah,
know how
but I
serious
don't
this thing
think
is.
why it's saying that COVID-19 is a media thing. I think it's trying to explain the Donald Trump and the relationship with the media and how the media projected him.
But
Am I correct, Mr. Wise?
Donald Trump keeps saying this is a lie. There's nothing.
No,
Oh, it's not as
no.
bad as they think. They want to show the economy.
Okay,
You don't need to wear masks until he got the COVID-19. Until
okay,
all his people
okay,
got
okay.
COVID-19.
Okay, Mr. Haruna, the director of CDC said max is not necessary. Dr. Fauci.
Initially,
No. Okay, now you're coming back now. Dr. Fauci in February said, okay, hold on now, let me come now. So which means Trump was right. Dr. Fauci said there's no need to wear mask. So
Okay.
if you look at the
Mr.
whole
Wise, wait. So
Yeah.
people were making adjustment, and that's how research is.
So,
When something comes new,
what did Trump
you will not
do
know how
differently?
strong that virus is.
So what
you
did
need
Trump
to make
do
an adjustment,
differently?
but he was not making an adjustment.
So what did Trump did differently?
The Trump was not making an adjustment. He still stick to his message from the beginning, and playing it down. And if you watch all his home team, even his chief of staff, couples of days came to here and said, mask is not compulsory.
Now,
It's optional for anybody that want to wear it.
let's go on the result now that is coming out from the U.S. right now. Do any of us have any result that is coming right now? What's the current result that is coming out?
129, 109 still on Electoral College. Biden still leading by 20 electoral votes.
But it's still loading. Now, with the result that we are getting right now, as an analyst, because I remember the last time we did the Nigeria election, our prediction was correct, Mr. Aaron. I remember. You actually analyzed it. It was even better than what we're doing today because we had the scale, we had all the wall and everything.
Nigeria is a different ball game.
Yeah, it's a different Fear, don't let you try. You cannot try this one now.
No, man.
Otherwise, is Nigeria a different ball game, and how so?
But when you look at a good example, like in California is a solid Democrat state. Around 40 electoral votes. They're 3 hours behind Eastern time. So I think maybe poll is just closing over there. Nevada, you still have some places that are Democrats, right? For me, until I see Biden is able to flip a state, then I will say yes. But the way it is right now.
But Mr. Wise, you will agree that most places that have come in, correct me if I'm wrong, they are mostly expected to be Democrat.
Yes, and Mr. Haruna is very, very correct. If you watch Kenny, I said, I'm very, very cautious. If Biden is able to flip any of the rest states,
that would be it.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm just like, you know what? We have a new president.
Yeah.
And if Trump is able to flip Nevada, which is very close, if he's able to flip Nevada, that means I don't think we're going to get a call tonight. We might end up waiting till tomorrow. Yep. Like Mr. Haruna is right. California is going to Biden. Anyhow, whichever way you slice it, is going to Biden. Now, what we are looking at is the margin of defeats. Is it going to be a blowout, or is it going to be like a 40? Is it going to be like a 40-60 or 55-45? That's what we're looking at in California. But California is in the bag for Biden. But what we are looking right now is those critical battleground states. If Biden is able to flip Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Michigan or Ohio, since we know he's lost Florida, so he need one state to flip right there. Once he's able to flip that state, then the path to 270 is guaranteed. Because right now, from my system, I could see 129, 115 electoral vote.
So we agree now that it's still close and we cannot decide based on that, right?
It's tough. It's tough to decide.
Now, we are going to quickly go on a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the dirty game of politics. How we dip into the nitty-gritty and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody that is watching us at home. Please share, take a cool drink, chill out. It's all about American election. I have our brother here, Mr. White. I have our senior political senior analyst here, Mr. Ibrahim Aruna. We just taking a cool ride, taking all the data in, processing it. As Mr. Wive carefully said, all the numbers are not in yet, and Mr. Aruna agreed to that. So you go get a drink. We're going to be right back. Do not touch that dial. We'll see you on the other side.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alone. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorize to keep you from evil theology. For you, the Dakahuya denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Welcome back to GBKM FM. This is Kenny Baz World Outreach. My name is Kenny Bazwaye. Today we're doing a special segment. We're covering the American election, and we have two subject matter experts joining us today. I have Mr. Ibrahim Haruna, which is GBKM senior political analyst, and I also have my brother here, Mr. Wise. Mr. Wise is again a subject matter expert. He always likes to call himself a student of history. I will go by Mr. Wise first. For those that are joining us in part, let us allow Mr. Wise to reintroduce himself. Go ahead, sir.
Like I said, my name is Wisdom, popularly called Mr. Wise, and like the host rightly said, my brother, I'm a student of political history, and that's it. I live in Toronto, Canada, and a technical project analyst. So we just deal on many parts. So I'm happy to be here today, enjoying the program, and hopefully, maybe as time goes on, maybe a permanent contributor to GBKFM in terms of issues like this.
You know, talking about a permanent contributor, allow me to quickly say this before we bring Mr. Ibrahim Haruna in. Mr. Wise has been one of those forces behind the scene, has always contributed to the success of GBKM Network Incorporated on the front line and on the back end. He has always been there. There have been times whereby we need his 2 cents. I always will use that word 2 cents. And he has never hesitated to be there. So for those just hearing his name for the first time, and I want to believe that a lot of people on our network is just hearing his name for the first time. Yes, you're correct. You're just hearing about him for the first time, but he has been around, he's been on the background, and he's been supporting. So on this note, again, I want to say, Mr. Wise, a very big thank you for all you'll be doing behind the scene. And I'm very happy that you took your time to decide to come to the front line. This is an American election, and this is the day you have made history to be on the front line on GBKM FM. We are humbly and very grateful having you today. Now, I'm going to move to Mr. Ibrahim Haruna. Thank you very much once again. For the benefit of those that are just joining us, Mr. Ibrahim Haruna, again, is our senior political analyst. He's been with us for almost a year now. He's been doing a very great job. Sir, for those that don't really know much about you, may you kindly, again, for the benefit of those that are joining us in part, reintroduce yourself.
I'm Ibrahim, originally from Nigeria. I've been
maybe you want to put your mic close to your mouth. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ibrahim Ola Haruna. So I'm a senior political analyst at the KGBFM. And in terms of profession, I'm a project management expert. You know, work with big industry back in Nigeria and here in Canada. And yeah, so this is what I do. I'm also a community organizer, one of the board of directors in the Nigerian Canadian Association, and so many other professional bodies here in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you very much for you guys are men with few words, and I'm sure our viewers can grasp that. You don't like to blow your horn, but that's not why we're here today. We want to, before we went on a commercial break, we talk.
I think we lost.
We lost.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alarmed, just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorize to keep you from evil theology. For you, the dark of you, you're denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Welcome back. I'm not sure what really happened really quick to the audio, but we're back now for those that are just joining us. While we were dealing with the glitches, I know that Brian Aruna and my brother Wild were talking about the Senate. What do we have for the Senate right now?
They have 40 seats for, they are both tied at 40 seats each.
On the Senate, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the number for the two presidency candidates?
133 and 115. Biden is still up in the Electoral College.
All right. So before we went on commercial break, we were talking about the dirty politics that happen all over the world. And today we want to zero into American politics. But Mr. Ibrahim Aruna, do you think the media at large were fair to the regime entirely? I mean, the whole regime of Mr. Donald Trump.
Yeah, when you talk about media, you want to give it to, we have different kind of media. Trump has his own media, and he doesn't believe in some other media. You know, he always calls CNN, MSNBC, and some other media fake news. And I had a commentator from Fox News one day talking about that Trump can call into the station 6 times a day. That's his own base, you know. That is where he gets his message across to his people and some other Republican media, right? So when you say fear, it depends, right? It depends on how you look at it. If you believe that some media are not covering you the way you want it, and we all know how Trump is.
But that's
right?
just an intro to the discussion, because if you look at it, Mr. Wise, you will know that there was a story of impeachment. There was you remember what he used to say, there is no collusion. There was a story of collusion with China. There's a story of tax. Wise, will you successfully agree that this was a very dirty politics leading to today's election?
Okay, let me piggyback a little bit from my brother, Mr. Haruna. He said, he mentioned Fox News. And okay, now, in terms of Fox News, their journalism, the editorial aspect of Fox News doesn't tilt Republican or Democrats. It's strictly news. The opinionated show, yeah, guys like Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity might tilt towards Trump. That's just one news network. Now you have the CNN of this world. You have the MSNBC, where Joe Scarborough is always blasting Trump every day on his show with Temanika. Then you have the ABC. Then you have the MSNBC. So you have the New York Times. You have the Washington Post. If you look at it, was the media fair to President Trump? My answer is no, but it's all politics. You understand? They were not fair to him because, take example like the Russian issue. At the end of the day, there was no collusion. And towards the end of the election, when issue came out for Biden about corruption, Twitter, of all people, censored New York Posts. They censored New York Posts. Twitter censored the acting director of American Border Services. Where's the fairness in that? But what I'm going to say is this. We always have people like Trump once in a while. Trump was one of a kind. And I'm going to say something to everybody today. The Republican Party was a dying party. I think Trump energized the base of the Republican Party because Trump is the only president that came out from the Republican Party who was able to cut across to the downtrodden, because the Democrats do very well with the minority. But today, look at what is happening. Trump has been able to bring these black people to the fold of the Republican
Do
Party.
you believe, Ibrahim Aruna, that Trump has vitalized those base that he just mentioned when it comes to the
It depends.
visible minority?
It depends, because I listen to some of the Republicans and they don't agree with Trump. Yes, so when you want to say it makes them to win the election because of that, yes. And you also see some of them who doesn't agree with him, right? Whoever being the president is the head of the party at that moment, right? So Trump is the head of the Republican today, and his style is different, and his base is different, right? Because when you look at the American has more non-college folks than the college folks. Over 60% of America are non-college, like compared to 40-something%, right? And those people, the non-college voters are for Trump's. His base, he kept his base, and he's eating up into further into other bases, right? Even though he lost some, there were some people who thought that they don't like Clinton. Instead of that, they will vote for Trump. He lost few of those people right now.
When
right?
we're talking about loss, before we go back now, let's wind back a little bit. Let's take, for example, the last debate between both of them that they had. How will you rate the performance, Mr. Wise, of Mr. J. Trump versus Joe Biden?
On the second debate, he did very well. And I think on the first debate, I blame the handlers. Because if I'm debating with a guy like Joe Biden, who confuses the wife with the sister, I will let him to hang himself when we're
I was expecting to jump on this. Did you hear what he just said?
I was expecting to hang himself because Joe Biden forgets every issue. Joe Biden is not articulate enough because no fault of him. He's almost 78, and he's a sick, and he is going. See, when we start getting old, we start losing our consciousness.
You can board in any time because I see you are excited.
And in the first debate, if I was part of Trump handlers, I would have said, do not jump in. Allow the guy to rope himself. That was a very big mistake Trump made. And if you watch on the second debate, he kept quiet. And let's see, and Joe Biden made a very big blunder. We're going to move out fracking. Who says that? When you want to win Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay. We've all been through student unionism. We've all been through defense school activities. When it comes to debate, even Obama make mistake. Anybody can make mistake, right? But when you look at when you talk about age, Biden is 77 and Trump is 74. They are both above 70. For God's sake, they are both old. Right, and see, I watched the debate. I watched all the debates, and so Trump. When you see what works for Trump in 2016 did not work for him this time around, because Biden was able to handle him, right?
By staying in his basement.
Trump is a dramatist.
Biden didn't do anything, Mr. Haruna. If it could be,
Biden did better. Biden did better.
How guys? And how so? Why is?
Because Trump was not talking issues. He was not talking about his politics. He was just making fun. Is that how to debate?
Okay, can I ask
you? That was the worst presidential debate in the history of America.
Okay, hold on. Tell me one policy statement that Biden said. I would like to know. Tell me today. One policy thing that you can pick up from the debate that Biden said.
So many. So
give me one. Name one for me. I'll contest you.
Biden talk about how he was going to handle the COVID-19. That's number one. He talked about the job. He talked about so many other things. He talked about green energy.
You're still not answering my question.
Those are policies.
Or platitude.
Those are policies.
If he
talks about what he was going to do, he talked about the environment.
COVID-19 is the same thing that the Trump government, the Trump administration is doing. We're going to make more masks.
No.
If making more masks is going to stop COVID-19, does that make any sense?
But to be honest, I'm not trying to lean on any side right now, Mr. Aruna. When we are asking about questions of policy, you want to see something that will stick. It's not something like.
See, I'm an analyst, and I will say how it is. If Trump do well, I will tell you he did well. If I watch the debate here in Canada, I will analyze based on each individual. Even though I'm a liberal, I'm not going to analyze based. I'm not representing liberal. The same thing in Nigeria. If I'm going to talk about politics, I'm not representing APC. I'm going to talk about both parties, right? I watched the debate, right? Based on my observation, based on my personal view, something doing well.
But that's personal. But what I'm saying is, give me one policy statement that came from Biden. Biden talked about pulling out fracking. He talked about the new Green Deal, whereby they want to retrofit 400,000 homes in America.
Yeah.
Then he talked about raising taxes for if you make 400,000 and above. For me, that's a recipe for disaster. How do you know who makes 400,000? Okay, now if you're gonna say we're
okay,
gonna,
I will tell you how.
Okay.
In Canada, it's the same thing here in Canada. Even myself, I'm not considered a low-income family. I pay more taxes than a lot of people because of my salary. So the same thing. It's easy to know because I fall into a high tax bracket.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like it, I'm paying too much taxes.
Okay. And
I'm a liberal, and I don't support it, right? But it's easy to know.
No. See, what I'm trying to tell you is this: if we not bring it back to the simple mathematics of economy, would that bring an economic growth in a country?
So let me tell you how it works.
Okay.
See, even Warren Buffett, he came and said one day that he pay less taxes than some of his workers, and he said that was the last regime. And he said the rich need to pay more. And let me tell you, I've been in both sides. I've been as an employee, and I've been as a consultant. So it's easy. So I'm saying this on air, right? If you own a business, there are a lot of ways you could pay less taxes than somebody who actually works as a worker, right? What they're saying was the rich need to pay more so that that money can be used to take care of other stuff, right?
If you say the rich going to pay more, you see, sometimes you liberals and guys from the left, you talk about the rich is being tied on a pole. If you're going to increase the taxes of somebody who makes more money, what stop the person from moving the money from US, from Canada to somewhere else?
And I also tell you that.
No, answer my question. What's stopping the person?
Relax. I also tell you that with this COVID-19, government also support businesses, and you can see, like it happens in Canada.
Mr. Haruna,
let me finish. The individual, the businesses, the large businesses, they still get support from the government, right? Don't they?
No, you see, you missed my point. What stops somebody from moving their capital from a high tax places? That's why if you watch in America now, why is everybody running to Florida? Why is everybody moving down to Texas? Why are people living
every state
New York and New Jersey?
So every
state, it's a high tax area.
So every state in America has a different tax bracket. I have registered in a company. A good example in Wyoming, for instance, if you register your business in Wyoming, you pay less taxes. Like every state has a different tax bracket for businesses.
It means you are agreeing with what he's saying.
No, I'm just trying to educate him that every state has a different tax bracket.
I understand. No, Mr.
So the federal government has a different
tax
bracket.
He's saying, I believe what he's saying is that let's agree now that we understand that every state has a different. But he's saying that will you not choose to settle for where it's lower? And what stops you not to go settle for where it's lower or where you can save?
It depends. So it depends on your client base. If you want to talk about economics, it depends on your client base. If you have more clients in a state that pay higher tax brackets, that's the way you can adjust and you still make your money. So it depends on your client base.
Well,
if you want to go to Wyoming, just relax. If you want to go to Wyoming, who has a population of very few people, how much are you going to sell? Are you going to make compared to a bigger state that have a higher tax bracket that you make more money?
Well, I can choose to drill into this topic, this very part of it, but I don't want us to digress because we can actually have branches, head office there. There are ways you can go around this, but let's not digress. Mr. Wise, what's your number coming out from the presidency?
Still the same, 133 1 to 115, and
It's going to be a long night.
Mr. Aruna, like I was telling you, that Lindsey Graham retained his seat, so it's looking grim now for Democrat to flip the Senate, because Lindsey's seat was very vulnerable. So if he's able to hold that seat, so which means the Republican has a shot in maintaining their majority, because Kenny, one of the plans for the Democrats tonight is to flip the Senate because of what happened with the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Because the Democrat has a plan to put one more seat in Puerto Rico. I know they denied that throughout the election, but that has been their game plan. And also see if they could pack up the Senate. But if Lindsey is going back to the Senate, I think we might end up only having +1. Which is going to make it 53-48.
Now let's go. While we are running up, Mr. Aruna, you're going to leave us soon, and I know Mr. White is leaving soon too. But while you are leaving, I can do like 1 or 2 minutes with Mr. Wise on this. But let's go down to some nitty gritty now. A lot of people wrote books. People make money in the back of Donald Trump. Some people were fired or hired. A lot of people. One person actually mentioned today that the traffic of staff, the turnover of staff in the White House has never been like this in the history of America. And I see Mr. Aruna nodding his head. If that is true, what do you think was responsible for that?
Well, let's Mr. Wise go for that first.
Am I coming on a hard angle?
No, because I know it has a different angle. I have a different angle, right?
That's the beauty of it.
The turnover was high, and mind you too. Trump is not a typical politician. The first 1-2 years in the White House was chaotic because he was operating the country like a CEO, like a businessman. Yeah, there was a high turnover because, mind you, in politics too, there's what we call give and take. And that's the reason why the way you make decisions in the corporate office is different from the way you make decisions in the political world. Because in the political world, most times you have to add water to your wine. So things may not come the way you want it, but you just have to give and take. You understand the point, So I think he learned that the hard way in the first 1-2 years because of there's certain things, whether you like it or not, you have to back that. So I do agree with you. There was a high level of turnover. He was trying to run it like a CEO, and later he backed out a little bit because he need to make some concession. He need to make some compromise because in politics, without compromise,
breaking news: Trump is and Biden is 209. Trump is 1112.
Ladies and gentlemen, news coming out. I would like our political analyst to, by himself, give that news out. What's the news, sir?
So right now the seats. So the projection is Biden is having 209.
Because of California.
Trump, yeah. So now I was talking about that, and Trump is 112. I was talking about California, Oregon, Washington. Washington, these are all Democrats. So the Democrats retain those. California is almost 40. I think it's 40.
55. It's 55 electoral votes.
So you can see that, right? So these are huge for Democrats, and they're able to retain it. And
but why is it safe to say that Democrats are gaining ground?
We're still waiting on the flip state. If he flip, that's what we said. If he flip one of those states, then it's over.
Yep.
You understand? Now he's on a pole position because of we know this was going to happen. Because mind you, he took New York and California, which Trump lost the other time. Yep. California is 55 states. Like I said, what I'm going to see in California, because before now, Trump was leading on the popular vote. Yeah. So is the margin we want to see in California? Because we knew Biden was going to take California. Now, let's see all those battleground states. If Trump is able to hold those battleground states, then he's still in contention. But if he loses one, then it's all over.
That's it.
Now, going back to what we were discussing.
I'll go back.
Thank you, Mr. Aruna. That was very, 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 very right on time. Now, do you think one may say that the the turnover, the traffic, the turnover, the high turnover when it comes to staffing the White House is because Donald Trump was looking for or cannot work with people that don't say yes to him. Mr. Aruna, what's your reaction to this?
So let me give you a background to that. You know, when Donald Trump was coming to White House, the way he chooses his folks was based mostly on the donations. A lot of those folks that donated money, he gave them positions, and some of them didn't even last. You know, some of them didn't last, and they resigned. And so I've seen 3 people coming out now to talk about. So when they are coming in, they have to sign. They have to sign NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that you cannot say anything for life, right? But now we've seen 3 people coming out in CNN or in different media to now talk about what they went through, right? So his style is different, right? His working style is different, and that's why you could see so many.
But
It-
we want to agree that everybody's styles is different, the way of working. So you want to say, when you're using the word style, I want to agree that you are
so what I
trying
mean,
to
yeah, what
you
I
are
mean by
trying to
that
say
is,
that he's that kind of a guy that if you don't say yes, you're out of the door.
yeah, again, I think maybe in project management or in organization we call something micromanage. You know, to me, maybe he's a micromanager, a sample of micromanager, because personally, I don't do well under micromanager. If I cannot do things if I cannot use my discretion, right, and you're going to be
But when we're talking
micromanage me,
about
right, I'm not
micromanaging,
going to
Mr.
last under
Wise,
you. Yeah.
talking about Mr. micromanaging, do you think he has successfully micromanaged the country? I mean, when I say
That's a
he,
different thing.
I don't think he micromanaged. Like what I'll stand on my point. You see, there's difference between a political leader and a corporate leader. And when he came in, the reason why he was voted in was because he's an outsider. He worked as a CEO. See, with CEOs, you don't challenge CEOs, but with politicians, you have to compromise. So the first 1 year, 2 years, I think he learned how to compromise with other people that may not agree with you. And do I believe that the people he put in office were people that donated? No, I don't believe that. He just picked what he feel he could work with. Because if we're going to go that route, if we start estraying every person's people they put in office, there are people who donate to a political campaign. We all know that politics is a dirty game, both here or in Africa.
now talking about politics, let me digress. Any of us can jump on this now. During Barack Obama, blacks were killed. During his tenure, there was also blacks killed. Some statistics will say there were more black killed during Barack Obama. Some would say no, there was more black killed during his tenure. But there was no Black Lives Matters and the horizon that took place during the presidency of Donald J. Trump. Do you think, compared to the predecessor, which is Barack Obama, that Donald J. Trump played more to the black base? Anybody can pick this.
Well, I think to me, when you look at the scenario of Black Lives Matter, which is good because right now here in Canada, a lot of companies are changing policies. Now we're beginning to see people changing their policy. Royal Bank, different kind of company now. They now admit they have long time don't know why or why we have less black representative, right? But coming to the Black Lives Matter, we see all the horrific things that happens, right? It doesn't matter who is going to be who is the president is. I think it happens. Those things that happens in his presidency that, if you watch on Facebook Live how a human being was killed in the United States, right? And that really pushes everybody to
But there
rise up.
was somebody also killed under Barack
Let me
Obama.
finish. George, I haven't finished. I was going there. George Floyd was not the first person killed. There were so many people that killed. I think it was just a taking point. Something that is going to happen is going to happen, right? who will ever think that George is going to be the person that will let us to have what we're having right now? I mean, the repost Friday we're here in Canada, like the positive side of it, we're seeing it, like in terms of people not changing
So
their
what
policy.
I'm
Right?
driving at is
So,
this. Will you think that this is sponsored, this is premeditated for the election? Mr. Wise, when you see the horizon that came for George Floyd, when you see the other guy that died, I forgot his name, the one during the Barack Obama that made a lot of news, the young guy that the guy went scot-free. What's his name again?
The guy
However,
in Florida, the one for Florida.
yes. But there was no this massive movement demonstration. What do you think is responsible for this? Do you think it's politics, dirty politics?
No, I think before politics, I think Mr. Aruna is right in one point. You see, I would like to quote his phrase. It was a tipping point. And you see, with the issue of black thing, and both in America or in this part of the world, I think the George Floyd scenario was like a tipping point, because every normal person watching that on video will trigger certain aspects in your life to say, okay, how could somebody be so wicked? Do I see the killing? Do I see what the policeman did as racial? No, I saw it as a wicked person. Somebody who is so wicked, who has so much hate to somebody that they might have crossed paths, because even racial killing does not warrant you to even step on, to put your nail on somebody's neck and watch the person die. I feel there was too much hate from that guy. I feel that guy was mentally deranged at that point. You know what I mean? Now, whatever that happens after George Floyd, I think both sides took advantage of the situation. We're trying to outsmart one another.
But
Maybe one side was
but if
one
you
side was
see
unfortunate.
that the ripple effect and the outcome with Zimmerman, let's do side-by-side comparison. When it comes to Zimmerman, where we have Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and we have George Floyd, the ripple effect, the outcome is different. How so?
so let me tell you something. The racial discrimination that is going on in America is huge. When you look at, the Zimmerman, I watched the documentary of the whole case. He was let go, right? The policeman that killed George Floyd he has been bailed out, right? There's a strong force in America in terms of the KKK and all those stuff, right? Look at Breonna Taylor. Look at how the case went. So when you see the tone,
Let me just for the record, the policeman has been let out on bail.
On bail, 1 million bail.
Yes, on bail, and
Yeah.
it's everybody's right. So proceed. Let's just put that on the record.
So, but the case of the Breonna Taylor was thrown out, right? So what I'm trying to say is, the racial discrimination, even the way you look at a lot of black people have been locked because of just possession of marijuana before the legalization of marijuana, and now we have the issue of what is it called, this drug that kills people now. That they're voting millions of dollars to take care of, because it's primarily white people, right? So when it comes to the issue of race, and it's still a sensitive issue that
You see where I'm bringing out on this, Mr. Wise
Yeah.
and Mr. Aruna. I'm trying to build a case here. Will this scenario, this case, be a build-up to this election? All this build-up, how will it impact the polling unit? For example, where you have the massive demonstration or whatever you call it on the road today, in each city, and so on and so forth. How will this play out today in the polling unit?
It does not, because let me tell you one thing. People who are demonstrating don't even vote. They don't even know where the polling unit is. They don't even vote. They're just anarchists. Now, where I disagree with Mr. Haruna a little bit is this. You see, sometimes before we make conclusion, we study the law. Most of these laws, now, where I blame the blacks, most of them who are black, for instance, someone like Kamala Harris used to be an attorney general from San Francisco to California. When you are in power, change some laws that doesn't favor your people. Most of these laws are there. So if people are in power, they cannot change the laws. Like, for instance, you're talking about Zimmerman. Zimmerman was not let go because he was a white guy. Zimmerman was let go based on the law. So sometimes we should learn how to fight our battle. Understand the law. Then if we feel the law is against us, then let's have a critical mass to change some of the law. That's how I see it. So in America, race is going to be an ongoing discourse as we keep moving, as things keep changing. Because mind you, this generation is different from 20 years ago. It's different from 30 years ago. So with the Floyd own, it is easy to connect with Floyd own. The wickedness was, people were able to see that wickedness from your screen, because with the rest ones, you don't see them. You only hear about them. The Breonna Taylor case, for me, I think there's more to that case than what we're hearing, because...
But why I'm bringing
So
the
let me quickly
case,
talk about something that I want to pick from Mr. Wise. I agree that people don't come out to vote. You know that it happens in Nigeria too. You know, all these youth that you're seeing now doing this, if they do come out during the election, Nigeria will not be what we're saying right now. But coming back to Kamala Harris, I think you should go and check her record. You know,
I did. No, see,
she
Mr. Haruna,
did a lot of reform.
No. Mr. Haruna, I
Criminal
will stop
justice
you on that one.
reform.
I don't,
She did a lot. Okay,
I
so
will stop you on
I
that
will
one.
not agree with you when you say she didn't do
You and I
much.
can disagree. You and I can agree to disagree, please.
Yeah.
I will stop you on that one. Kamala Harris, I know I've followed Kamala Harris this year from AG in San Francisco. She made a lot of blunders, just like Amy Klobuchar. So sometimes when we want to speak on something, let's not criticize one person just because we favor one person. She also made her own blunder. She was the AG. So she could have changed some stuff too. So let's not pretend because
No, I'm not. You know, I just want to quickly
I want to
correct
stop
you when you
Let's
said.
not pretend, because she also has her own problem. She has her own fault. You understand? She has her own fault. If she has done her job very well, there are certain things she could have changed. She could have changed when she has the power as an AG. Just like Joe Biden, who is running now. Joe Biden has been in power for 47 years. The 1994 crime bill that he put there, he couldn't change it. Now when he's coming for presidency, he's giving me a different story.
So Mr. Haruna, what do you say to that? Some people use in the Nigeria adage, what did you leave in the office that you are going back to pick?
See, everybody have a track record, right? Even myself, if I walk in a place when I leave, I look back, I will say if I have opportunity again, I will have done this differently. So everybody. So people on the track record, there are reasons why some people are not able to achieve some reform or some achievement. So people will help, you have, when you look at people's track record, you will achieve some, you will not achieve some. I'm a project manager for so many years. Some projects I have failed, woefully, on some projects. And a lot of projects I deliver very well. And I'm as an agile coach. So what I'm saying is
this is like you're sugar quoting it now.
No, I'm not.
If he was a vice president for years,
the problem I have with folk is when you are saying the way it is, people will say you are sugar coating things, right? I'm talking based on the experience.
Yeah, but my question here, sir, if he couldn't do the change that was needed at some point when he has the luxury, if I may say, to do so, what did he leave in the office that he's coming to take?
Which office?
The
overall
office.
Yeah, you can ask Biden to explain to you. You know, as a vice president, as a vice president, you are different. You know, you make the call. As a president, you make the call. You are the commander in chief, right? So you can do more than somebody who's, as a vice president, again, you learn a lot of things from the president, right? And naturally, you can see a lot of countries, a vice president will step in to become the president, right? And continue whatever the policies they are doing. When you look at their health care bill, their affordable care bill and all those stuff, there's so many things that they would like to continue, right? Just like Trump has his plan to repeat it and replace it with his own plan, and he got stuck at the Supreme Court, right? So
I agree with you on that, but if you look at it holistically, I don't have the data here now. I wish we have had it. Things he has done when he was in Senate, how he voted, and so on and so forth. It would have been interesting to pull those data up. For the lack of those data, we will not dive into it. But let's go back to Mr. Wise. What's your number saying?
207-148.
207-148. Mr. Haruna, whenever you're ready, I know that your time is past.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up soon, yeah.
Yes. I want to say, while we continue, me and Mr. Wise, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Anytime when you're ready, let us know. But I want to quickly say something before we go. Do you agree, or anybody can take this, that the political movements or activities that has happened that led to this in the past 1 year was geared to the Democrat or the Republican? I don't want to be one-sided now. Was geared to the result of today. For example, I mentioned the demonstration. I mentioned how George Zimmerman. I mentioned many other things that ordinarily didn't take place in a different person that was different presidency. Do you think this was geared in that way? Again, let me take a favorite quote why I'm bringing this up, guys. Donald Trump has mentioned, even with COVID-19, even with the demonstration going on, that is being sponsored, that is politically motivated, and so on and so forth. Anyone can join this. Do you think these activities, series of activities, if I may eloquently say, was leading to the polling unit?
For me, personally, my observation, I don't think so, because if it really does, what we're seeing is not what we're seeing, right? The poll has much easier than this, right? We all see the Obama eras, how, the change mantra, everybody stood up. It helped him to win the first and second time, right? To me, I don't think it has really have much impact. If it does, the polls would have been much easier than this. So that's my observation.
So, if I get it correctly, you think those really didn't influence anything, correct?
Because some of these folks won't even come out to vote, like Mr. Wawasa said, right? Some of them won't even come out to vote. We've seen situations where people don't even vote, right? If it translates to votes.
But if you look at the numbers of new voters, you will see that there's increment, correct?
Yeah, but when you look at Biden is different from Clinton. Clinton, a lot of people, even though he won the popular vote, but at the same time, she still lost some demographics when it comes to voting. They didn't vote for her. Some people didn't like her, and even she lost some Democrat. Some Democrat didn't vote for her. But we're seeing something different right now.
But why will you argue that Donald Trump or Biden has pulled out more voters that would ordinarily not come to poll?
I agree. I do agree. At least, especially the Democrats and some of the independent.
A lot people came out to vote. Yeah, a lot people came out to vote this time. Like even before the election, the 93 already cast their vote. So that was a huge turnout. That was a huge turnout. Yeah, that was a huge turnout.
Mr. Haruna, before we let you go, I know that you're going to use your favorite phrase, and I'm going ahead of you and say that you are not allowed to use it. It's too early to predict. You are not allowed to use that popular phrase today. So we are going to put you on the spot.
I don't know, man.
As the senior analyst, we will allow you, we'll ask you to predict before we go.
I look at the map. I look at the map and I'm still seeing Biden still maintaining. I haven't seen him flipping any state. So I think we might not be able to see LA call tonight. We might have to actually be patient to wait till tomorrow before we can get the clear winner, when they're able to count the absentees ballot and all those stuff. For me, I'm not going to project, for me, it's not easy to make. I haven't seen Biden flipping any state. So make that projection call. I don't want to look stupid.
On this note, you heard it for our senior political analyst, Mr. Ibrahim Aruna. Before we let you go, what would you like to say to our viewers, our listeners all over the
I
world?
just want to say thank you guys for listening to us. We'll come back again, to do more political analysis, irrespective of which country, whether Nigeria, Canada, or United States. So stay safe, everyone, and have a good evening and a good night.
Thank you. That
Good
was
night.
Mr. Ibrahim Aruna signing out. On this note, we're going to quickly go
Yeah.
on a commercial break. We just have like 5 more minutes more with my very, very long time friend, a subject matter expert. Like I said the other time, somebody has referred to him as a teacher. We'll be right back after this commercial break. We'll see you on the other side. Do not touch that dial.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alarmed. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorized to keep you from evil theology. For you, the darker hue, you're denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alarmed. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology.
Welcome back, welcome back. This is beautiful. My name is Kenny Bazwai, and you are on Kenny Baz World Outreach. We're doing a very special segment, and we're talking about American election. As some people would say, people that are inboxing us and emailing us, want to say a very big thank you to you all, especially my homeboy T Major Benson. First time in history you come through on our email. Nice. But again, we're talking about this election. This is an election that will make and break some political party. We had my brother Ibrahim Aruna, and now I have my brother here, Mr. Wise. Mr. Wise, once again, is one person that have been behind the scene when it comes to GBKM FM, and he has decided for the first time in history to come on the front line. Mr. Wise, you are most welcome to GBKM FM today. Please, for those that are just meeting you for the first time, we like to enjoy your introduction again.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still remain wisdom, Mr. Wise. Like I always say, I'm a student of political history.
Thank you very
So,
much. Thank you very
yeah.
much, Mr. Wise. It is nice having you today. Looking at your numbers over there, has anything changed?
Nothing has really changed. I think Biden has been able to flip Arizona. So at this stage now, I'm going to say he has a 90% chance of picking the presidency. But right now he's at 218. Trump is at 148. He took Arizona. Trump took Florida. So right now things are looking very good for him for flipping Arizona. So the only way Trump can counter that, if Trump can flip Nevada, then that could cancel. But if Trump doesn't flip Nevada, then I'm gonna say okay, it's all over.
So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that Trump have more work to do than Biden.
Oh yeah. Because right now, I know Pennsylvania looks good for him. I don't know about Wisconsin. So the way the electoral map is going, with Arizona out, because mind you, Texas is still coming. I think Texas might go for Trump, but I think where the Democrats are looking at is Nevada. Nevada has been a Democrat state, but because of those casino workers, most of them are voting for Trump. So let's see if he's able to flip Nevada, then he's still alive on this race. But if not, then I'm going to say, you know what, it's all over.
Now, I'm going to digress a little bit. Given the history of what has happened to Trump, the whole saga that he has come through, should Trump lose this election, what do you think will be his fate?
Nothing. He's a former president. Nothing is going to happen. Let me tell you one thing. If the Democrat wins the election, first thing they're going to do, you see all this whole political brouhaha going on, it's just going to die down. Everything is just politics. Understand one thing, the Democrats and the liberals, they know, they have the political machine. They know how to play this very well. Once they win, you're going to be surprised. Even this whole COVID-19 story is going to die down. Like, quote me here, like I'm telling you, the Biden plan is not different from the Trump plan. There's nothing they're going to do. There's nothing anybody can do. The vaccine is going. The vaccine is still going to come when the vaccine is supposed to come. Biden is saying we're going to print more PPE. The Trump administration has already done that. Now, where the Trump guys miss it is communication. Like, I blame them in terms of communication. They were not able to communicate their issues properly. And mind you, Trump is rough around the edge. So that must have played against him with people, because I saw a poll from CNN, 54% of people who voted for Biden were voting against Trump, not because of they love Biden, because they know Biden is nothing, but they just voted for Biden because a lot of people they're just tired of that chaos. They just want things to go back the way it used to be. So, well, and again, too, Trump too was not able to poll very well among the white women. So a lot of the suburban women were voting for Biden too. So there's a lot of factors that is playing out today. That is why he's lagging behind.
Wow. We did a mini survey as mentioned previously, and most of the people we spoke to, they happens to be people of color, and this was a survey that has to do with people of color. And you'll be shocked how many people that I know that we swear and say that Trump can never come back. So it looks like, in my own opinion, if I am correct, that Trump is very popular when it comes to the people of color. Very unpopular.
Yeah, like you see, like I always say, it has to go with the narrative, because if you ask anybody the question, say, tell me one thing that he has done wrong. If you watch well, everybody keep dancing around the bush, and nobody will give you an exact thing that they feel that makes them doesn't want to vote for Trump. Now, for me, I think he did well on the economy. Now, I think his style of bringing out his information was his biggest undoing. You understand? Because politics is different from, like I say, politics is different from the business world. When you're a CEO, it's different. You could go there and marshal your order. I want it this way, blah, blah, like that. But as a president, it was different. And I think, love him or hate him, I think he was one guy that came in, fought the media, fought everybody. Like, I felt he was a lone ranger, and I'll give him that credit. And I think a lot of people are going to study his style for a long time to come. Like, if he wins or lose today, I think he tried. That's my own take. That's my own personal take. I think he tried. As a person, he tried. Like, he shows everybody how to fight. And he's a fighter. And that's why up to now, I'm still not able to count him out till I see one or two results coming in, then I'll say, okay, no, he's out. Like, the way it looks, Biden looks good in picking up the presidency. And I wish Biden well if he wins.
While we're running out, because we're almost out of time, what do you think the world should learn from this Donald Trump regime, his initial election, and this re-election?
One of the things is one, communication style, and also know when not to play too much. I think the whole COVID thing, I think him and his team came late in terms of the discourse. I'll blame them on that. They really came late. They could have taken that discourse from the start go and make sure like they were directing the discourse. They allowed their opponent to define them. And it's hard for anybody to change that discourse. And for me, I don't blame him on all the debt, because America is a state whereby most of the state, they are independent of everything. Like I use New York. New York did a very horrendous job on the COVID-19, but nobody blames New York. They blame Donald Trump. So I feel...
You know, the Cuomo was...
Cuomo was a failure. Yeah. Cuomo was a failure. To me, he's a failure. He's a failure as a governor. But the thing there is, like, my problem with him and his team is they allow themselves to be defined by their opponents. That's how I see it. because politics is blood sport. So you have to get out there with your own information. And I think those times he came out too much and he was talking too much, and he allowed the media to start attacking him. So I think they could have taken him out from that first time he started those news. You know what I mean? So that became his biggest undoing up to now.
Now, what America will you predict or would you like to see tomorrow morning?
Whatever. See, in democracy, I believe in democracy. If Biden's win, I feel he's the president for the next 4 years. We'll give him the support. Whatever he comes out with, we live with it. Because mind you, election, there's consequences in elections. So whatever you vote, you take. If you vote Biden, you're going to get a Biden for 4 years. You vote Trump, you get a Trump for 4 years. So a lot of people, for me, I vote based on my pocket. I vote based on issues like I see is going to benefit me. I vote on economic policies. I vote on a lot of issues. Like if I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm not going to vote for Biden. Reason why, if he's going to ban fracking, that may affect my job. You understand what I mean? Now, if I believe in climate change or new Green Deal, if I have if I work for a company that believes in green technology, Biden is my guy. But if I work for somewhere that believes in fracking, that believes in fossil fuel, that believes in oil, Trump is my guy. So people have to pick what they want to do. Like who you think is going to provide food at the kitchen table. That's how I see election.
Now, if Biden win, do you think Bernie Sanders will still be in the picture or is gone? Because remember his age.
Biden too is a grandpa. So Bernie Sanders and Biden, they're all grandpa. So the thing there is Biden win. I see Bernie Sanders. I see Bernie Sanders and the squad. Because mind you, a Biden win is not Biden control. Because mind you, Kamala Harris, the Bernie Sanders, I see Bernie Sanders as even as a labor secretary. I see Governor Chris Cuomo as even as the attorney general. I'm just speculating for you now if Biden wins. So you're going to see all this crew, they're going to be in that government because they have an agenda. You understand? Because mind you, Kamala Harris as the vice president automatically becomes the Senate president. That's how American Constitution is structured. So a Biden win, you're going to see all these characters coming back. Like you're going to see the Democrats trying to put in their stamp. Like now, I think the Democrats, if they're looking at the White House, they're looking at the Senate. If they're able to flip the Senate, they want to see how they could add more people to the Supreme
But if they get the White House and get the Senate, then it's finished.
Yeah, if they get the White House and get the Senate, and they have, because already they have the House, I think America is going to change for the next 4 years. Nobody's going to recognize America again in the next 4 years because there are going to be a lot of policy changes in terms of energy, in terms of healthcare, in terms of social services. So whichever side of the divider win, America will not be the same. That's how I see it. If Trump's win, America will not be the same. If Biden win, America will not be the same. So it just depends on the side of the divide you are.
Wow, you heard it from my brother here, Mr. Wise, the teacher. He said, whichever side of the divide you are, whoever wins, America will not be the same again. While we are writing up, Mr. Wise, just 30 seconds. Tell our viewers all over the world your last remark. We only have 30 seconds to go. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think my own is for we, as I'm watching American election, I'm also thinking about Nigeria, and we should also put 2023 on our mind, and we'll see how we can vote out the people that has taken Nigeria 2 steps backward, voting out the people we see right now, and see how we can make our country, Nigeria, a better place. America is doing politics. At least we're all looking at American politics, supporting Biden or Trump. I think we should focus that energy on Nigeria after now to see how we can help our people in Nigeria who are being massacred, and also see how we can start talking to our governors and the rest of them to change the policies to make Nigeria a better place. That's my take.
Oh my God. Thank you very much, Mr. Wise. For the lack of time, we have to go now. I just want to say that's it for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Wise. Thank you for your time. We know this. I want to quote Mr. Wise as we round up. No matter which side of the divide you are, America is going to change for another 4 years. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us. Do not forget, GBKM FM is 24 hours. Check us live, follow us, listen live programs for great news, great music, entertainment at www.gbkm.fm. Do not touch that dial. We'll definitely see you on the other side. Thank you once again. We love you.
The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorized to keep you from evil theology. For you that I could hear, denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alarmed, just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to,
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorized to keep you from evil theology. For you that I could hear, denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
sometimes you wonder why.